I do a lot of voice work. I love doing voice work, and it's an area that I've sort of concentrated some time into. So it was really exciting to get a call to sort of be a part of a legacy character, legacy world in the Sonic world. And I remember saying, wow, Knuckles wants to come alive, and I could voice that. I was a little nervous about it, trying to understand what does Knuckles sound like. But it was a really good experience making it, and just sort of exploring how to create what the sound of Knuckles is. I'm laughing because I know I'm very funny, and I never get to do funny stuff. But no, I think that part of the motivation is definitely to do some comedy, and I've done some voice work in films that skewed for young people, Zootopia and Finding Dory and The Jungle Book, but definitely the Sonic character, the Knuckles character. My son would love to hear me in this film. I can't wait to show him it. Was I familiar with Sonic? Really? Is that a true question? Of course. Sonic was probably one of my first, gaming heroes. Sonic the Hedgehog was definitely, for my generation, what I'm saying, coming up with video games in a very early form. Sonic was one of the first games. So yeah, I was definitely super aware of the original Sonic game, and never thought in a million years that I'd ever be a part of that or be able to contribute to it. The voice of Knuckles was a bit of a journey, trying to understand, what does this character sound like? Is he American? Is he English? Is he, tribal? Is it other? What is it? And we what was great is that we had a chance to just explore different sound sonics. No pardon, but just explore different places my voice could go. There's obviously Knuckles has this sort of like menacing, sort of presence, little powerhouse. And so obviously the voice, we wanted to reflect that. I think where we landed, where the accent feels like it could come from maybe England, maybe America in places, and maybe just other, maybe just, his English speaking voice is a sort of, is a reflection of what his language might be as an echidna warrior, and just, bringing that to life was a lot of fun. When you're doing voice acting, obviously, you have to jump into the future. You have to sort of put your voice on and imagine what the audience are going to feel. You also have to imagine what the animation could be like. And in some cases, the animation is led by your voice. So you sort of live in the future, obviously just making sure your voice sounds good and warm. It's rare now where we're all in the same room together, just based on scheduling. It would be great to be in a film where me and the other characters are all in the same room, but that's very rare. So what you end up doing is, sometimes the voice is already recorded, you hear it, and then you say your line. And a lot of the times, I tend to just do their lines and then do mine. So I can naturally find a little cadence that, especially if it's like in this character, where there's a lot of deadpan humor, and what Ben does with his voice and just really pushing that Sonic energy, and then my character. So I'd sometimes do Ben's line and how I think he might say it, or I'll have the recording and then I'll be like, and I tend to we do a take, I'll do 3 or 4 in a row. Knuckles is, he's quite a big character in the Sonic landscape and the Sonic universe. He's a big fan favorite. And I have to admit, when I got the role, I didn't know much about, Knuckles. I know his iconography. He's a big character within the universe, but I didn't, know too much about his history. So I got to learn about him as a warrior in the Echidna tribe, and and very powerful, proud tribe, adorned in the red hair and the red body and these incredible knuckles. I have decent knuckles, but I don't have knuckles like Knuckles. His knuckles are massive. And he's a character that is sort of void of, warm and fuzzy. He's not a warm and fuzzy guy. He's very dry and straight to the point and means business. And in the movie, he, his down there, his sole purpose is to go after Sonic. And when he gets there, things start to unravel in a different way. And he has, I have to say, when I read the story arc for Knuckles, it's a great journey. It's a great character journey to play, so I was excited about that. There's no gray area with him. He doesn't understand lying. He doesn't understand the dishonor, as you say, but he also doesn't understand humor. He doesn't really understand emotion. He just understands brute force. I remember Jeff and I just wanting to play up the sort of dryness of him, not understanding humor and just saying things very matter of fact and, not understanding why that might be inappropriate or just a bit too loud or a little bit, insensitive. And Knuckles is what Knuckles does. Jeff is, really, really warm, really experienced director who has a lot of passion for Sonic, Knuckles, all the characters. Really great imagination. I really enjoyed working with him. I didn't get to meet him personally because we were on Zoom and I was in England shooting. But whenever we met, whether it was 4 o'clock in the morning for him or, whatever time it was for me, he was always sort of cheery and, knew exactly what he wanted. It was great. And Jeff always left room for me to sort of, expand and improvise. He loved it when I improvised because even though this is what the script says, he wanted me to just feel comfortable within the Knuckles space so that Knuckles can say whatever he wants and then we'll always get what's written, but we'll say it in a different way. I really enjoyed that. When I saw the trailer, I was like, whoa, that's Knuckles, because I just done that voice. And now I hear it fully mixed and in the picture. It's quite interesting. And I really want the fans, there's a lot of pressure for me internally, hope I get Knuckles right. People go, oh, no, okay, Knuckles was cool. Jeff, the director, and I really sort of explored what do we want to be satisfying for the audience, We didn't know whether it was this accent or that accent, but we knew that, as a warrior, the last of his tribe, and this incredibly intense guy, Knuckles could have a rich character to play with. It's got a lot of real estate, and it's fun.
It was so exciting. It's really the little engine that could, When I got into it, no one was quite sure about what I was doing, choosing Sonic as my next project, but there was something sweet about it. There was something really kind of touching and lovely about this, adolescent type character that's just coming into his power and enjoying all the wonderful, stupid things that are in our culture and the pop culture and just really loving the planet like none of us do anymore, And it just gave us that feeling of innocence. And I was able to be the juxtaposition of that, the old guard, the people that are taking us down the tubes into a virtual world that we can no longer control. I'm Robotnik. I am the controller. Toggle me. That was a perfect opportunity for me to be that guy again. And I seem to run into those characters quite frequently. They're offered to me a lot. The ones that are completely mad, the ones that are absolutely self-loathing and compensating for it with some false sense of confidence and superiority. That's my specialty. When somebody When somebody writes that in a script, it just screams off the page, hire Jim Carrey. There's a madman in the hills. He needs something to do, somewhere to point his megalomania. It's bigger than I thought it would be. It's deeper than I thought it would be. You know, Robotnik just gets bigger and bigger. You know, I'm a big visualizer, big affirmation guy, you know, so the joke about the secret in the movie is basically my life. So a couple of years ago, I was thinking, I'm, you know, mid-50s, and you know, it'd be nice to kind of settle into some character that is a franchisable character, but that moves and morphs and has some place to go. He's not always the same, you know. And what happened was Robotnik, who is constantly becoming more and more of an ego, and more and more bitter about not somehow being able to control these puny minds that always seem to get the better of him. And I've met people like that, you know? And so that's an interesting thing, interesting area to play. And yeah, there's a deep world there if you want to explore it, and you can invent it, and you can, you know, travel in the places that people are expecting, and they gotta have what they expect, you know, in a movie like this. They gotta see the things that they grew up with playing, and it just makes them feel at home somehow. It's like coffee brewed to perfection. I had never gotten that deeply into it until I did the first film, and then I started realizing, oh my gosh, yes, there are so many characters in this game that they're going to actually exploit. And people just love seeing them, you know? As soon as Tails shows up, people cheer. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like buttons that get pushed. Robotnik has been marooned on the Mushroom Planet, and as a lot of society is now. He's been out there in his own little world, trying to make coffee out of mushrooms, trying to make souffle out of mushrooms, trying to make, you know, various dishes and recipes, and playing chess with himself, because it's the only worthy opponent he has in his own mind. And yeah, he's chiseled a rock that he named Stone, because whether he likes it or not, he is kind of attached to the guy, you know. He hates to say the word friend, but, you know, that would probably be the category Stone went into. He would say sycophant, probably. Well, first he's got to get even. You know, every supervillain has to get even to begin with. They all start out with a chip on their shoulder, some reason they've got to use their history of abuse to become the abuser. And so vengeance is number one. Number two, of course, total world domination and the enslavement of mankind. That's one of his items on the bucket list. He does return, and he, well, we'll just, I don't want to give it away, but vengeance is definitely the order of the day, you know, and it gets big. It gets very big, because the mustache is a manifestation of Robotnik's ego, you know? The bigger the ego, the bigger the chip, the bigger the resentment, the bigger the mustache, you know? It's a status symbol. Wish I could put a racing stripe on it, you know? It is absolutely his power, like Samson's hair. Robotnik's mustache has become an outward manifestation of his megalomania. I think every relationship with Robotnik starts out as friction, challenge. Who is this person? What can they take from me? What can they give to me? How can I use their power? How can I be, you know, defended against this power? How can I dominate? His first concern is to dominate, you know. Certainly when he hears about the power of Knuckles, and then he hears that Idris Elba is doing the voiceover, it's a daunting task to dominate this character, but that's what he must do. must use Knuckles' power to his own gains. And, you know, Knuckles is a reasonable person. You know, he's a ruffian. He's a warrior, but he has a code. And, you know, so he's surprised by Robotnik's lack of code. The process is really kind of just rapid fire, try everything, give the director so much to work with. You know, so many levels of emotion, so many levels of cartoon. You know, some are fairly real, some are completely over the top, you know, so that they can make the music happen. And that's kind of how I feel about it. I love giving them lots of choices and doing a lot of takes. And I'll do them all night if they let me, you know, because I'm never satisfied, hardly ever. I generally look back and go, the second take. You know, you'll do like 30 takes and go like, oh, I had it on the second one. But, you know, you never know what you're gonna get. But when it's right, it's right. And sometimes on those later takes, you get one little snippet that's otherworldly because you're so tired or you're so out of your mind that you drop all pretension and you do something that you don't even expect, you know, and that's really fun, really fun. In comedy, if you stuck to the words exactly on the script and all of that, I mean, you know, there's not a ton of Shakespeare being written in comedy. It's just, you know, it has to live in the moment and it has to be spontaneous. And you'll get into the scene and something physically is completely different than how it was pictured in the script. And you have to assimilate that. You have to use the props, you have to use the set, you have to use the other actors, or in this case, no actor. Oh, Ben Schwartz, yeah. Perfect, beautiful. Talk about like a gift for improvisation and a youthful, you know, beautiful, exuberant spirit. And, you know, he's great. He was an amazing find. And yeah, he does a great job with it. And we're having fun. We're getting to know each other better and better. And that's kind of fun, because I can, like, he calls me for advice and I tell him the wrong stuff. It's fun. Oh yeah, Lee is enthusiastic, for sure. But he's willing to go anywhere. You know, I mean, Robotnik is fairly abusive, and but Lee is a really good dance partner. He's a really good dance partner. He just goes with it, and he's up for almost anything. In fact, I can't really remember anything I've ever said to him, like, why don't we do this, that he hasn't at least tried it, you know? And it's tough to be, you know, pulled around by your jaw, you know what I mean? But he's fantastic, and I do think people really like that relationship. There's this really lovely, you know, symbiotic relationship, you know, between me and Stone. We're seeing more of the characters now come to life, you know, we're seeing the war between the characters, you know, that were in the video game. And of course, Robotnik will always be the, you know, monolithic beast of need and hatred. But you know, it's wonderful to see all the other characters come to life, you know, and the relationship between Tom and Sonic gets stronger and more maudlin. Because people need that. They need it. But they're very nice. They're very nice people. Yeah, what's different? It just gets bigger and better, you know? And in this universe where all these superhero movies are existing and everything, I like this place, you know? I really like the world this Sonic character I was going to say inhabits, and I really like it. I think it's different and it's innocent and it's got all the special effects and all the wow, but it's also got this very light thing going on that's just kind of sweet and homespun, and the idea, you know, I sound corny, but the idea of families hanging out together and watching the movie and the adults having something that they can take away from it and enjoy my performance as I You know, I'm always saying 3 things at once. But, you know, that means a lot to me. You know, the first movie came out, had a short stint in the theaters, very successful, but then COVID hit, and it was a very important movie to people and families that they could watch together during that time, and I love that. That makes me really happy. I've had a long career, thank God, of these movies I've done reintroducing themselves to new generations of kids, you know, so I get, you know, a 50-year-old coming up to me telling me how much they love a certain movie, and I got a 10-year-old coming up to me and saying they've just started watching all of my movies, and that's an incredible blessing. I just can't believe it. It's what I asked for, what I asked the universe for, and I certainly got it. I certainly got lots of it, and I'm super grateful to have more of it with this film. You know, that this is going to be something kids are growing up with. It's a lovely place to be. It's a great place I inhabit in the world, and I'm super grateful for it.
I'm Adam Pally, and I play Wade Whipple. And now here I am returning for the second. Couldn't be more happy. I always loved the actual game. I don't know if I'm a Gen X or a Gen Y or where I am, but I know that Sega Genesis was very popular in my house. And the Sonic game especially was something that was like the Mario of Sega Genesis. So I played it till I beat it. And then I did the same thing with Sonic 2. I think everybody wants to run really fast. You know, I think that, and there's something about that the first movie really captured, that only one person can do that, and that's Sonic, and that can maybe be a little lonely. So I think that might have something to do with it. Wade doesn't have a ton of friends. It's a small town, and Tom is both his partner and, you know, his boss, but also the fact that he entrusts him with the responsibility to, like, be sheriff for the weekend. I think that Wade kind of takes that as a big sign of their friendship. And it's been nice to be up here in Vancouver with James, because I've gotten to, like, hang out with James Marsden a little bit and form a friendship there, and it's been pretty cool. We pick up with Wade as Tom is getting ready to leave town for Maddie's sister's wedding, and he entrusts Wade with the responsibility of sheriff for the weekend. Wade is pretty psyched about that. He's worked a long time to kind of have that badge. So that's where we pick up. And then things don't kind of pan out for the weekend. But I think if you ask Wade, he wouldn't trade a single bit of it. Working with Jim Carrey is a dream. It's a dream come true. Since I was a little kid, he was my idol, and any chance I get to work with him, I would jump at it. It's always odd when you find yourself, like, joking around with him, and then even so much of his work is so classic and legendary that it's, like, seeped into my own vocabulary. And there will be times where I'm talking to him and I realize that I'm actually, like, doing an impersonation of him to him, and he must love that. Ben Schwartz, who voices the character of Sonic, is one of my best friends from growing up. So we started in comedy together when we were 19. Ben and I started at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater together when we were really young, and we were in a comedy group together for a long time called Hot Sauce, and that's how we started. I don't know if we ever thought this would be the franchise we would do together, but I'm certainly happy that it is. I improvise a lot in my takes. Jim is really great about improvising. You can kind of throw anything at him, and Lee is really good with it too, play Stone. And Jeff, the director, is so good about, like, really quickly deciding what is working and what is not, and what area to go down and where to avoid, and it kind of leads you in the right direction really easily. Jeff Fowler is great. He's great. He's got such a easy style, and I think when you're so prepared as he is, and for a movie like this you kind of have to be, it's very easy to kind of follow your plan and adjust accordingly, because at least you have the plan. And I feel like Jeff is really good about that it's just like, you never worry that we're gonna miss something or not have something or go be out of control. It's like Jeff knows exactly what he's doing, and he's thought about it. I think that people are going to enjoy the size of this one. Everything is bigger, everything is louder, everything is brighter. And the characters that you came to kind of learn and know have grown so much and get to do so much more because you're getting a little more time with them. It's so exciting.
I kind of pinch myself that I get to come out here and be a part of a franchise that did so well with the first movie, Sonic the Hedgehog. And so what's funny is I've been playing this game of Hollywood for about 28 years now. I'm on my 28th year. And my family and friends, especially like my little nephews, and you know, they're like, oh, okay, you're on TV, whatever. Maybe I watch your show, I probably don't. But Sonic the Hedgehog, it took me 28 years to become cool. Like, I'm actually really cool now because I get to hang out with Sonic the Hedgehog. James Marsden and Tika Sumpter and Natasha Rothwell. Just a great group of people, and Jeff Fowler and Toby Ascher, producer. Just a great clique of people, and to be a part of that. And my boss and my friend, I'd like to thank, Neal, Moritz, gave me a call and said, hey, I got an idea. Instead of chasing bad guys, why don't you go chase tennis balls, which is Sonic? And I was like, really? Seriously? I get to fly to Hawaii and be part of a franchise? I was like, how do you say no to that? I was like, yes, 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 sign me up. And here I am. I just love that it's outside of the box. And as my career continues, I love being the hero. I'm a tough guy on TV, but I'm a goofball in real life. But any chance I can to just be a goof, I'll take it. And so in the world of Sonic, you know, I just get to show the lighter side. I get to show my teeth and smile a little bit. And there's a little bit of tough guy. It's not easy. It's a whole different muscle. But it was fun to get my feet wet. And now I kind of going forward, I want to dive all the way in. I knew it was a huge movie that did really well. I've watched it, 3 times? And so I watched it once years ago, and then once I got this opportunity, I watched it twice just to get a sense of the rhythms and the story of it all, and who the characters were and what I'm going to be a part of. And it's a feel-good movie. It's a feel-good message. I think it's for anybody who can just enjoy this world and the heartfelt message of it all. There's a message of unity and togetherness and fighting for the right thing. And, Sonic the lone soldier who needs a friend, and you know, and I think that's true in real life for a lot of people. So I think a lot of people can relate to the message of the movie. Randall's just a good guy who unexpectedly gets swept off his feet by Rachel and all her antics and all her glory and all her beauty. Watching James Marsden work, he's such a nice guy. But his comic chops and all his colors is just so fun, and they make it look so easy, and they're just having fun making each other laugh. And that translates to the screen. So for me to come in and get to dance with them, I call it, you know, and be a part of that joy and that charm and that fun and the antics, it was a breath of fresh air for me. It's just fun it's fun to get outside of my comfort zone and do something completely fresh. A lot of that was just the quick chemistry that Natasha and I were able to build, because just being here at the hotel in between shooting or having a drink by the pool, just talking to each other and getting familiar with each other, and I saw her heart, I saw her energy and her joy, and she was so welcoming, which was easy. Natasha's just so endearing and likable, and so when you get to work opposite somebody like that, it's like an exhale. It's like it becomes easy, and it just becomes a dance. Tom wishes he was the cool guy, and Randall just seems to ooze cool. And so Tom's trying to be the cool guy, which is funny because he's just not the cool guy. And Randall, I think, knows that Tom is a little intimidated, so he plays with it. And he doesn't mean any harm, but he just plays with it. What's wonderful about James is he embraces the awkwardness and the geekiness and of his character, and he does it so well. And so Randall came in and kind of the big bully on some fun things, but they actually have a respect for each other and like each other. Sonic's superhero, but what does it all mean to be super by yourself? And I think that's a message for true life. You know, how great are you? I don't care what you have, how much you make, what your status is, what your title is. What does it mean if you don't have anybody to share it with? You know what I mean? And so then you start to ask yourself, what's really important? You know, how bad do I want this so-called prize? At what price? And so I think it's about celebrating your greatness but also being humble enough to search out balance and selflessness. And I think that message rings true in this movie of Sonic. Thinking outside the box a little bit, you're gonna get to see your boy be a part of some funny, a little humor. You know, I'm not gonna be clenching my eyebrows like Hondo quite as much, you know, get to see some pearly whites. Just the lighter side. To be in a world of Sonic the Hedgehog and working with the talents of James Marsden and Tika Sumpter and Natasha Rothwell, being in this goofy world, bringing laughs, but also bringing just a beautiful message of unity and hope. If you haven't seen Sonic 1, you gotta see it. Watch it again and again, and you'll see how fun this is, and you'll be so excited to see Sonic 2. And just what I got to experience, this is something you can't miss. This is something you can't miss. It's a feel good, it's a funny, and it's for everybody. I don't care how old or young you are, you gotta see this movie, and it's just gonna make you feel good and smile.
It was amazing. It was incredible. It was something like, as a fan of the franchise, and then as someone who was very proud to be a part of the movie, and then to be able to voice Sonic, to see people love it and to see people react and like want to see more, and watching people when the Tails reveal happens. We would go to movie theaters and check it out. It was amazing, because you hope that people like it as much as you like it. And then you're watching people really connect with it and feeling like we did it, we did the fans like justice. That made me so happy. We have more characters. We have Tails. Tails was just like a little treat at the end, and now Tails is a character that is with Sonic, and now we have Knuckles, which, if you're a fan of Sonic like I was, when that video game came out to introduce Knuckles, it was extraordinary. I even remember, maybe I'm wrong, that there was like a little connecting part to it when you got the game back in the day. But even the emblem to me is iconic. It used to, for the video game, it was like a Sonic and a Knuckles, the blue and the red. But the idea that we have these characters to play with, and then the action is incredible. It's almost like they're like, okay, the first movie, people really enjoyed the first movie. You can go to Jeff Fowler and Toby and Neal, go nuts now, go. And they took advantage of it, and it's great. And now we have Tails and Knuckles, so it's kind of, it feels like it's all been leading to this build, and I just loved it. I really loved the second movie. We have so many people that love these characters so much, and I think hopefully that's why people felt that in the first one, and they're gonna feel it even more in the second one. There's Easter eggs everywhere, and I think people watching will love it. But we go to all sorts of places. Sonic is able to run over water and go to like islands that have been lost for eons. So it's exciting. New places, new fun places, and then the knowledge that all these people have coming into it, like Robotnik that has already been defeated. Now he's really pissed. Sonic, who's trying to grow up as a kid and be like more of an adult. You know, all these things coming into it. The way that we had played Sonic at the beginning is he is this kid with a lot of energy, and he wants people to like him, but at the beginning he really didn't have anybody. Now he has this wonderful family, and he has this town that kind of enjoys who he is. And now it's a matter of, like any other kid, he's growing up, he's looking for his identity, he's looking for people that he can hang around with that don't feel like parents, your group of humans. So I think it's really fun to follow it, because for people like myself or any other people growing up when you're kids, you're really trying to find like the people you like to have fun with, the people that are creative the way you're creative, that are unique, that are weird, that are silly. And it's Sonic trying to find that for him. The idea that Sonic, knowing that he has these powers, wants to be that Batman vigilante type character, and he wants to do good towards the town that he's in. So he's trying to protect it, but he's a kid and he doesn't quite have a handle on how to do these things without destroying a city or stuff like that. So when we see Sonic at the beginning, it's him trying to be this blue justice, is what he calls himself, and doing it very poorly. I love the idea of like a Batman that just isn't quite pulling it off. And that's kind of like where he started, because that's what he feels his purpose is. His heart is in the right place. He wants to make everybody feel safe and happy, but at the same time, he's destroying a lot of things. Tails is a character, a little beautiful, sly little fox, has two tails, and one of my favorite parts in the video game is that you can play with your friend and someone can control Tails and you can control Sonic, but has the ability to fly with his tails, which becomes very exciting in the video game as well. When he hangs on to you, you get to do stuff with that. But in the film, becomes someone who idolizes, a sycophant of Sonic, someone who really idolizes Sonic, and finally gets time alone with Sonic and kind of learns about who he really is, and vice versa, where Sonic gets to meet someone from back where he was from and learn about Tails. Jim Carrey as Robotnik, so fun in the first one, so much fun in the second one. He is pissed. He's pissed off. I mean, Sonic threw him to the Mushroom Planet, and now his goal, his purpose is to get back and to stop Sonic. Knuckles is an echidna, and Knuckles is like, he's got these huge hands and has the ability he's just like a brawler. He's just like, he can punch, he can fight, he has powers as well, and he is like the ultimate match for Sonic. I think Sonic has never met somebody who can stop him. The instant Knuckles is introduced, Knuckles stops him in his most powerful attack, pushes him to the ground and shows him that he can't do this. So Sonic has to start thinking in different ways to try to defeat this force, which he's never seen before. I love Idris Elba. I think he's an unbelievable actor. And his voice is so like strong, and it's perfect in the essence of what Sonic sounds like and what Colleen's tail sounds like, who's unbelievable. And then Idris also is just like, I feel so lucky that he's a part of it. I feel like we got so lucky. And his voice sounds amazing in the movie. So I'm over the moon. I haven't met him yet, but I have a feeling when I meet him, he won't care. I have a feeling he's met far more interesting people than me. I have a feeling he'll say, what are you doing here? And I say, I play Sonic. And he'll say, Sonic is a cartoon character. I go, good and lovely to meet you. Have a great day, sir. Jim Carrey's like an idol of mine, and Marsden and Tika. And Natasha Rothwell is so good in this movie. And Adam Pally. Obviously, I'm a comedian coming up. I'm an improv and sketch comedian. And Natasha and Adam both come from UCB, Upright Citizens Brigade, where I came from. And they're so funny in this. And they hit their mark so hard. They're just... I can't wait for people to see them. Natasha is so funny. And Adam, I was in a sketch group with when I was a kid called Hot Sauce. So I'm always rooting for him. And he crushed it. They're both so good. So the fact that we have our main cast that you love, and then we have this guest cast, and we have some new people in as well, it's been awesome. Jeff Fowler is an incredible leader, I think. He's amazing. I get to see him from the VO side. And when I see it, he's awesome. And we get to play, and we find new stuff. And every now and then there's a piece that we got to figure out, and together we figure it out. And it's amazing. He showed what he can do in the first movie, and he shows it to the next level in this one. So it's very exciting. There's so many different reasons to watch this film. And I'm so excited by it. There's comedy. There is action. And there's action in the first one. The action is like quintupled action. Jim Carrey, still unbelievably funny. We have James Marsden. We have Tika. We have Natasha. We have Adam. We have an incredible cast. The animators crushed it. Tails is unbelievable. Colleen does an incredible job. Knuckles is unbelievable. Idris does an incredible job. Sonic is beautifully animated, and I feel like we really brought the energy of the first one to this one. It's just epic. It just feels epic. It feels like we're providing you a movie that you're like, what? And you keep saying that because it keeps building and building until this incredible crescendo at the end that harkens back to these incredible action or incredible superhero movies that you've seen in the past couple of years. And I'm just really proud because it feels like an evolution of where we started and where this character is going. And it's really exciting. We have some other new cast members as well. Shemar Moore, who's a beautiful muscled man. And unbelievably hilarious in this as well.
I started out, I was auditioning for the show, Sonic Boom, and I don't know if I knew this at the time that we were auditioning for the video games too. Like, I don't think I knew what was happening. So I auditioned for it and I had a callback. So I ended up booking the part for the show, and then we ended up recording the video game first. So I was like, oh, but I had worked on those games before. I also play Charmy the Bee. So I was familiar with the Sonic world, but I really didn't know Tails. I didn't know, I didn't know anything about him. So I first did the video game, and then we started working on the show. It was great because creating that character of Tails, I feel like he came to such a different place. You were able to, there's dialogue and there's other characters and there's all this entire world. So developing his character even more throughout the series it really was just one of those dream jobs that's just, I'm so lucky. I'd heard of Sonic the Hedgehog. Of course I knew that it was in the world, but I honestly had no idea the fan base. I didn't realize how far and wide it reached. I didn't get the scope. I really didn't. It was kind of crazy because they called my agent, were like, do you think she'd want to? Do you think I'd want to? Of course I would. Like, who says no to that? Nah, well, I'm kind of busy. No. But so I was ecstatic. I was like, really? And so they called it a cameo. And so when I went in, I didn't know it was going to be the credit scene. And now, like these days, it's all about the credit scene. Like, you don't leave a Marvel movie without watching the credit scene, or any movie these days. So I didn't realize it was the credit scene, honestly, till we were finished with the session. I think one of the gals that was there told me about it. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. People sent me videos of their theaters exploding in excitement the second his feet hit the ground and the ring, and he comes out, and they are screaming their faces off and cheering. And I have my mom calling me and telling me that she teaches English, and she had her students telling her that their kids were running around the house being Sonic, and they were so excited, and they're like, my teacher's daughter, like it was crazy, but so exciting. Like, who knew? I had no idea. Like I said, I was so excited to get to do it, but who knew? I didn't know. I think the thing with Sonic is it keeps, the generations that grew up with it they hang on to it, and they absolutely love it, and they know everything there is to know about it. But then there's also room for a new audience. And I think with like new game consoles and now with this movie and like all these different, incarnations of it, it's just so appealing. It's, more of a cinematic universe. And so it's a lot more serious. There's a lot more, more grounded, I think a more grounded performance. It's not as broad for sure. Because like video games especially, you're up here, the energy is up for every single line because it's like, go, like everything is fast and high energy. Whereas, with a movie, there was, of course, some high energy moments for sure. You're being chased by Dr. Robotnik. Of course there's going to be stuff. But in a much more grounded sort of space. In the movie, they're meeting for the first time, Tails and Sonic. And so it's the beginning of this relationship as opposed to the games where they're already buddies. And the show, for sure, they were, he was his sidekick, he was his best friend. So this is the beginning of the relationship, which is a different place to be. And while Tails always has some insecurities, but it's a weird dichotomy with him because he's so confident in his mechanics and his invention building and things, even though lots of times they go awry. He's very confident in that way, but he's very sensitive, and he gets insecure, and like he idolizes Sonic so much. So to be able to go in there and help him out at all in any way is like, wow, no way. Seriously, me? Are you kidding? He's coming to help Sonic. He has found out that Knuckles is coming for him because they're trying to get the Master Emerald, and he thinks that Knuckles thinks that Sonic is the key to finding that, and so he has been sort of monitoring Sonic from afar, and idolizes him, of course, and so he wants to go and warn him, basically. And I don't think he has the idea that he's going to do any saving of any kind or any sort of like, I'm going to, swoop in and be his savior or the hero. I think he's just like his sole purpose at the moment is to warn him that Knuckles is coming. So that's where it happens in the movie. But Tails he invents gadgets. He's called Tails because he has two magnificent tails. That he actually can fly with. They like spin around and they take him where he needs to go. Although those of you that do know that he also has a plane that he flies as well. But he's an inventor. He makes these gadgets. He comes up with these really cool little gadgets and ideas. And he's very smart and he's sweet and he's like the best sidekick ever. I think Idris was the perfect choice for Knuckles. He's got that rich, beautiful, put you to sleep kind of voice, like, easy listening. No, I think it's just perfect for Knuckles. I think he brings he's so funny. He definitely brings the funny, but also the innocence. Like he does a great job of bringing Sonic to a very vulnerable place, a very like, as much as he's like a little kid and likes to goof around or whatever, he has this sensitivity about him that is just so sweet and just, I don't know. I think it was a really great choice, honestly. I think he dives in with, you know, wholeheartedly with every project that he does. And he's got this tremendous body of work that I didn't even realize before. But I think he does. He brings a lot of experience, and I think, you know, having an improv background and coming from a place of comedy, because I've done a fair amount of improv as well, and I think with voiceover, that's one of the key things I think that you almost have to have. You have to be able to go off of the page a little bit. I'm looking forward to the fans getting to see it. I'm looking forward to their reactions, to see how it's received. I am very hopeful that they love it. I'm excited about the whole thing. I am relishing every single second of everything I get to do involving this movie, because I mean, this is what I always dreamed of. It's what I've always wanted to do, and then I'm getting to do it, and it's just crazy, but amazing.
I was familiar with him. I mean, you know, Sonic the game, I played a bit. I was a big gamer growing up, but Sonic got its popularity right when I was trying to give up video games because I spent so much time playing them. I was familiar with the game and obviously knew the characters, but I didn't know them as deeply as some of the fans, to be honest. And but it's great to see them in all their primary color glory coming to the big screen for Sonic 2. Yeah, he's turning into a belligerent, petulant teenager. Like they do, right? First they're very grateful, and then they, you know. No, I say that kiddingly. Yeah, it's half kiddingly. You know, I think he feels safe, he feels protected, he feels loved and accepted, and he feels like he has a family, he feels like he has a home. And he didn't necessarily have that in the first movie. So that part's different. And then what comes with that, you know, is growth. Like he's still a kid. I mean, there's dialogue in this movie where we talk about him struggling with, I have all these powers, you know I'm still kind of just a kid, but, you know, I can do so much. I can, you know, his eagerness to help and his intentions to use his power for good, you know, overcome him, and he still grapples with, like Tom and Maddie have to tell him, like, look, you know, just because you have these powers doesn't mean you need to go seek out trouble, right? You know, you gotta sometimes let yourself be a kid and enjoy other parts of being a kid. He's eager to grow up. He's eager to go fast. You know, that's his catchphrase. You know, gotta go fast. And Maddie and Tom are trying to get him to slow down a bit. In life, you know, and there's some really sweet themes that kind of go through the movie with that. It's not all about crime fighting, you know. It's about sometimes letting life come to you a bit. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think Maddie is a great sort of mediator, and she's a great sort of, she's good at taking the temperature in Sonic and Tom and sort of making everybody relax a bit. You know, I'm a parent, I have 3 kids. You're never gonna do it perfectly, right? You always wanna try, there's no manual to doing it perfectly. Each kid is different. And so, you know, the dynamic between a parent and a child is one that's like, you know, the kid teaches as much as they learn, right? I mean, so I think Tom is trying to do his best and to do right by Sonic. Which also brings up another point. Like in the first movie, they were sort of buddies, and the tone in this one and the dynamic between the two of them is taking on more of a sort of father-son sort of parental thing. I think it's just one of the things I like about these movies. It's like there's so much life in these stories, which is it's about growing up. It's about also maybe letting go a little bit as a parent, right? Letting your kids make mistakes, letting them, you know, learning to let go a little bit so that they can grow up, you know. And I love those themes amidst all the crazy action, of course, that you're going to see in this movie. In this movie, like I said before, we kind of turned the volume up to 11 and cut him loose and bring in all these new characters. And obviously Robotnik is back and badder than ever. And you know, the stakes are higher and the action scenes are faster and bigger. And Jeff Fowler and I talk about this a lot. Jeff, the director, you know, there needs to be at its core this heart. And if that's not there, then everything else is sort of ornamental, right? It's sort of just hollow action stuff. There has to be real stakes. And he's a good guy. He's a likable guy. He tries to do the right thing all the time and do right by his kid. And Maddie supports that. And, you know, he doesn't take himself too seriously, but when stuff goes down, you know, he can be a good cop as well. So that's when all the fun action scenes come in and I get to throw punches and do all that stuff. I think he looks at Randall and he's like, I was never that bro, you know, so I don't know that speak. And intimidated by it. He's a big guy, and he's a big personality, and Tom's a little more easygoing and soft-spoken. And but that's where the good kind of funny comedy stuff comes in these scenes. It's like it's great to play opposite Shemar, and he's a natural comic. He really is. Like he was coming up with things on the day, just kind of hitting me a little too hard, you know, in the chest. Like, got really good timing, and it's fun to play. And Natasha's just brilliant. You know, she's so much fun to play with, and like I love to get in there and sort of improv a bit, right? I mean, we do the scenes as written, and then we kind of, you know, Jeff lets us play a little bit, and you know, Tika and Natasha and everybody are just kind of comfortable messing around with it, and you always find these little gems sometimes. But it's a blast because it's hard not to go to Natasha's energy level when you're acting with her. I mean, the first movie was me and Sonic, or me and a tennis ball. And this time around, I get to act with more humans, which is kind of nice. To actually see people and look them in the eye. I think the core of the movie is still that sort of heart and those themes of acceptance and friendship and the bonds of family and you know, the responsibilities of power. All of the action sequences are, you know, 5 times as big, but they're still all tethered to that core, that heart. Robotnik is, you know, twice as crazy. Twice as powerful, twice as determined. It comes with the success of the first movie and the studio and everyone involved giving us the thumbs up, going, go have fun, right? We tiptoed a bit on the first movie, but we still played and had a good time. You know, that movie's a success. Now just open the floodgates and just let it all hang out. So I would say that's what you're gonna get in the second movie, is everything you got that you liked about the first movie, just times 10, and that many more laughs and that many more smiles.
Where we left off with the first movie, Sonic really kind of finally coming into his own with his powers and starting to understand that, in fact, one of the most important lines at the end of the movie is, I'm not going to use my power to run away anymore. I'm going to use it to protect my friends. And that had such a it was such a heroic concept. But this movie is going to explore sort of what does that actually mean, Sonic as a hero, because he was in, there was a very climactic moment at the end of the first movie. He was able to defeat Robotnik and, you know, send him off to the far reaches of space and the Mushroom Planet, but that doesn't mean he's a complete hero overnight. That means he was victorious, but he's still got a ways to go to really understand what it means to be a true hero. We took basically everything that we loved about the first movie and just went bigger. I mean, the action, the humor, but the heart as well. I mean, that's the most important thing not to lose sight of. People connected with Sonic in such a great way on the first film emotionally. He was relatable. He was a character who needed a friend, and that was all very, very grounded emotion, and I think audiences really were able to relate to him as a character and just to really become invested in him. And so with the second movie, it's just, we want to keep that heart, that's really what makes these films, I think, connect with audiences, is the relatability. I mean, he's a little older now. He's more of a teenager, kind of trying to understand sort of his purpose, and he has these incredible powers, but what is he meant to be doing with them? And so there's a lot of lessons that still need to be learned. And at the end of the first movie, she voiced our little teaser. Fans just seemed to love that. We thought it was such a great fit. I mean, getting to do our movie version of Tales and then hearing Colleen's performance come out of Tales, it felt like a perfect fit. So great to have her. She's incredible. Obviously, she knows the character inside and out, so just was able to come in on day one and just give us really great stuff. Knuckles is such a cool character. He's the last of the echidnas. The echidnas are a very proud warrior race that have kind of gotten themselves extinct by virtue of their own aggressiveness. They're warrior culture, obsessed with honor, probably out there picking too many fights, and that has sort of withered their race down to just him, and he's the last of his kind. And because he's the last of his kind, he really has this deep sense of honor, of obligation, the obligation to the legacy of the echidnas, and he's going to be the one that fulfills the mission and does the things that none of his predecessors could do. So one of the most important things to know about Knuckles is his relationship to the Master Emerald. Traditionally in the video games, he is the protector of the Master Emerald, and the Master Emerald is such a holy grail in the Sonic universe. It's such an important part of the canon. We figured it's a great thing to bring into the movie story, because it just gives us such great scope and it's such great stakes. Literally, the whole universe could be threatened if this Master Emerald falls into the wrong hands. So in the video games, in Knuckles' origin, he's the protector of the Master Emerald. So we're actually taking the Master Emerald and Knuckles and kind of telling an origin story of its own, because Knuckles is trying to locate the Master Emerald, and by finding the Master Emerald, that's going to sort of fulfill the legacy of his ancestors. So you're going to fall in love with him immediately, just because he's so serious and he's so dedicated and committed to his mission. Sonic and Knuckles both have these amazing powers. We're able to stage action that's so cool and so extraordinary. We had so much fun doing it, but really also to just make Knuckles a fully dimensional character, make him relatable, make him emotional, in all the same ways that we have with Sonic, because ultimately we really want all of these little CG characters to really be alive, and for audiences to be invested in them, and for them to feel like fully realized characters with motivations and emotions and all that important stuff. Tika it's the laugh. The laugh is what lightens the mood on set. The minute she steps on set, you hear her laugh, and it just makes you smile. She's so full of life, so full of positive energy. It just brings everybody up. She's just radiant, and obviously incredibly talented as an actor, and brings so much to Maddie. And we really got to have fun this time. We really got to expand her role and to give her some action, and it was just, and you could tell she had a great time with it. I think there's definitely some action roles in her future. She really did great. Natasha is one of the funniest people I've ever met, and so her instincts are so incredible. She can ad-lib just left and right, and just really knows how to take the material and make it funnier, to make it more grounded, more relatable. But just oh my gosh, just so wonderful talking through scenes with her, blocking the scenes, hearing her ideas, and she brings so many great ideas to set, and just makes stuff so funny, and it makes it look easy, so effortlessly funny. I am in awe of her talent. Shemar Moore is a fun addition to the cast. Neal said, "Oh, I've got the perfect guy. I know who Randall is. It's Shemar Moore," and he said Shemar, and I was like, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. So had a great talk with him, talked about the character, talked about kind of bringing him into our Sonic movie family and all that entails, and just really talented actor, really smart, really just sort of knew what's the right performance for the moment, and which is not an easy thing to do, because you do have all these you've got Sonic and Ben and all the sort of manic energy that he brings. You've got Jim Carrey, and obviously he is amazing, and all these great comedic actors. But he came in and just really knew exactly how Randall should fit into the story, and just nailed it. Robotnik and Stone have just become almost, have become iconic. I mean, to see the fan base embrace them and embrace Lee, it makes me so happy, because Lee is such a wonderful person, an incredibly talented actor, and to see him and Jim get together and kind of workshop, and as we block the scene, like, they just have a chemistry, and they've had it since it's the first day of filming on the first film, and I love seeing what they come up with, and how they sort of work through the ideas, and and yeah, Lee's another guy that just has such amazing instincts, and Jim is so giving with his time and his energy, and that's, you see it on screen. You see that even though Robotnik doesn't really treat Stone very well, but when the cameras aren't rolling, there's such a wonderful friendship and relationship between the two of them, and yeah, I just it makes me so happy to bring Lee back and to give them more, to send to have Robotnik and Stone just be together for more story. Ben is just he's Sonic in every sense of the word. Sonic is such an optimistic, positive spirit, and that's Ben. Ben is just the nicest guy imaginable. So funny, so committed to giving us everything we could possibly need. I mean, you name it, any hour of the day, if I reach out to him and say, oh, you know, we're working on this scene, we'd love to try a new take, a new piece of dialogue, and he'll jump on his iPhone and send us a temp, and then we'll go back and re-record it later. But he's just so committed to the character, so committed to these movies, loves playing Sonic, but is also just just a wonderful human being, and we're just so lucky to have him as our Sonic. I mean, he's just the best. I mean, it's the kind of thing that you just can't fake. He loves video games. He loves Sonic. He's such a fan of all of this. So he's kind of simultaneously the actor, but then he's also a fan. Like when we screen the movie for him, and he sees stuff that Sonic's not in those scenes, but he gets excited and gets so worked up about stuff because he's legitimately, if he wasn't in the movie, I guarantee you he would be there opening night to see the movie, because he loves it. He loves the world. He loves the characters, and that's just awesome. It's just awesome to have someone that is so deeply invested in the characters and just making a great movie. One of the things I love most about getting to do these Sonic movies, for all the humor and the heart, but then we also get to do really great action and stage these really incredible set pieces. The first time Sonic and Knuckles fight at the backyard at Sonic's house, just really see these two super-powered characters just go at it and to do stuff that we couldn't do in the first film, because now we've got Knuckles. Knuckles has his own powers. He's got this incredible strength to Sonic's speed. So it's like just such a great recipe for action, like speed versus strength, and just watching them kind of go at it. The games are just loaded with great action, and so we just really looked at that and said, how do we take this and just go big and just give fans just really just spectacle, just big screen, really great spectacle and scope, and just blow them away with the action.
My name is Lee Majdoub, and I play Agent Stone. My reaction to the success of the first film, I mean, for me, it's just pure joy, really. I don't know if I'd say it was a surprise. It was more to see how much people loved it and connected with the character of Sonic. And I know with like my generation coming up, it was Sonic on the Sega Genesis, and you know, something that totally escaped me is like my generation now has kids, and those kids are introduced to like a new generation of Sonic and the cartoons and new games and everything. Agent Stone has been pretty depressed. You know, Robotnik's gone. He's been gone for about 8 months. Stone's trying to keep himself going. He's opened up a coffee shop that is a front for a lair that he has built for Robotnik, built to his exact specifications. And I think he's just awaiting his return. You know, he knows he's going to come back. He just doesn't know where he is and when that's going to be. But he's holding out hope. To my surprise, to Stone's surprise and misfortune, Robotnik brings Knuckles to the lair. And I have to deal with the fact that, you know, someone's in competition with me for Robotnik's affection, his, you know, being his right-hand man. I don't like Knuckles. I think he's trying to get in on my game, you know. I worked really hard, and I don't appreciate him. Just gonna put that out there. Don't like him. We got that in the first movie, just that fish out of water, trying to find your place in the world. And I think that's something that everybody can identify with, you know. If not now, at some point in your life, you've experienced that. I've experienced it, you know what I mean? Like, for me, it was more of moving around a lot as a kid and you know, not being really in the popular kids groups and stuff. I got picked on quite a bit, so it was like a long search of where do I fit in, what's my place in this world, and fortunately I found acting, and you know, in a story like that really hits home for me, and I think for a lot of people, like I said. You know, I think that's what life is you try to find your place, and hopefully you find, you know, what you're meant to do and what your dreams are and what your passions are, and, you know, at least a few people in your bubble that are tight and have the same values that you do, and help raise you up. Jim has been and continues to be so gracious, so giving, so lovely. You know, there's a saying, people will tell you, you know, like, be careful about meeting your heroes and whatnot. And, you know, meeting Jim, like, it couldn't have been more opposite than that, you know. It couldn't have been any better. And I don't know, it's weird. It's tough to put into words what that means. You know, growing up and looking up to him, right? And then, geez, what, like 25 years later, 20 years later, I'm working with him, and it's a marvelous, marvelous experience. I think what's nice for me playing Stone is, like, in a sense, it's just, you know, I get to just kind of like just be there and be there for Robotnik and kind of just, you know, watch Jim do his thing and feed off of him, and it's a blessing. I think the endearing thing about Sonic is, you know, we touched on this a little bit, was the fish out of water. He's trying to find his place in this world, and I think everybody can identify with that a little bit. And for me, as a kid, I always kind of liked the chip on his shoulder. You know, he kind of had an attitude, and there was a coolness to him, and you know, I wanted to be like him. And also his ability to run so fast, and but yeah, the endearing qualities. It's just, you know, him wanting to find that place, that home, that wanting to belong. It's really exciting. I mean to be invited back, you know, and to have more to do with Stone, and more fleshed out scenes, and a little bit of a background to what he's been up to. You know, it's just, again, it's one of those things that it's hard to describe, because there's a lot of joy, and there's a lot of gratitude, and feeling truly blessed for the opportunity. I mean, you know, like look at these sets. Like, it's huge, you know, to be part of something like this. And you know, when I first started out in this industry, it was just kind of, you know, maybe what if one day, who knows? And, you know, 14, 15 years later, to be sitting on this set, second movie, you know, having a great relationship, working with a great team, you know, it's you couldn't ask for more, really. They make a pretty cool team, and I think they need each other. I think Robotnik needs Stone more than Stone needs Robotnik. Just putting that out there. It's a true story about friendship and the meaning of sacrifice, and being willing to do what it takes to help your friends and save your friends and your family. I think it's mainly about that. It's finding, like, realizing that your place on this world doesn't come from anything external either, right? It comes from somewhere internal, and realizing that you do have a place and you do have something to offer, and it's just about finding what that is for you. And then everything else kind of builds around that, and relationships build, and friendships build, and life builds. It's lovely to be part of a team that really cares about the Sonic world. We really had that in the first movie, and I feel like it's just grown on the second movie. Like, everybody's attention to detail, everybody loves this character, you know. And for me as a fan, to be on this set and to see what they're doing, and have read the script, and you know, I'm just so stoked as a fan to know that, like, it's in good hands, and you know what I mean? Like, that's really cool. And I think fans are, hopefully, loved it. Did you love it? You better have, because Robotnik and Stone are coming for you if you didn't.
It was such a joy to be a part of the film last time, and just the journey that the character has taken. Yeah, I was over the moon. I get to do action. I feel like an action star. I'm ready to jump, fly, flip, all of it. The reason why the game and I feel like this movie is standing the test of time is because it does speak to those sort of like very basic fundamental things of family, friendship, love, and connectedness, compassion, and fun. Like, it's just fun. I'm still processing it, actually, in a very professional way. My character, not me, my character has to smooch him. And that is just a treat. That's just a treat and a half. You know what I mean? When someone tells you you're going to be playing opposite a gentleman you may or may not have had a shirtless calendar of when you were 16. And you're going to be marrying him, and he will look into your eyes and say he loves you. Does your spirit leave your body? Yes. Do you eventually come to and do your job? Yes. Will you be thinking about that for the foreseeable future? Yes. He's so deeply funny. I feel like audiences are going to be so surprised by how charming he is and how deadpan he is. As someone who's done comedy for forever, for me, watching someone that can play the straight man and then also turn a joke, it's very hard to find. And then also be that symmetrical and that good looking and be funny, it's not fair. It's just not. I mean, well, hello. It's my favorite thing. I feel like I've been super lucky in my career so far to have directors that allow me to play. And improv is how I started out. And, you know, they say dance with the one that brung ya. And so I absolutely love directors that give me the opportunity to sort of play around and find, you know, I feel what improv does, it makes you really present because everyone who's looking at you doesn't know what you're going to say, and half the time I don't even know what I'm going to say. So it's just like a really special sort of like chemistry when you improvise on, but you're improvising within sort of like parameters, right? So you know what the line is supposed to be, so you know what it's trying to achieve. And I think I benefit from also being a writer, and so when I'm looking at a line or I'm given an opportunity to improvise, I can play within the parameters to get, you know, the mission of that, you know, specific dialogue across, but then I can just basically paint with whatever colors I want. And so sometimes my goal is to make, you know, I told James, I was just like, I want to break you. I'm going to make you laugh. And so surprising and delighting the people I play opposite, that also surprises and delights me. And I think that's just more fun for the audience to watch because they're seeing in real time someone reacting to something that they don't know, and that just feels, I don't know, more authentic. The second film allows us to deepen our relationship, and you really get to see sort of sisterhood and teamwork, and you get to see sort of like, you know, us coming up, you know, between takes of just like, oh, let's do this, and this is like what sisters would do, and this is how we would play. It's been really fun to discover their relationship and their history, you know, together with her. And she's just, I mean, if she's in something, I want to be in it. You know what I mean? Like, she's that kind of like incredible actress and just so smart and funny and versatile and up for anything. And that's always fun.
I knew of Sonic when we first started. I wasn't like the ultra fan, but I really liked the character. And I think what made this so different from so many other video games that have been turned into movies is at the center there was a great character in Sonic, and I think that's what ultimately made the film successful. Is there was an endearing, great character that people loved and were able to root for and go on a great journey with him, and that was just an amazing experience for us. I think it's tricky when you have so many storylines and so many characters that you can go with, but when you see audience reactions to different characters and different locations and different iconic things from the games, it becomes really apparent for us as which directions we should head. And we're trying to, you know, do something that we can have lived for a long time. I mean, we love the character of Sonic. We love the additional characters that have been added into the sequel, and we just think there's plenty of room to keep growing, and it's exciting for us. When we released the trailer for the sequel, it was really exciting for that to finally get to see Knuckles. There had been a lot of rumors and innuendo that Knuckles would be in it, and we had done a little tease when we announced that Idris was going to be in the movie, but for them to actually see him in the flesh, in his read and to come out there with Idris's voice, like, it was amazing to watch these fan reaction videos of them watching the trailer and the introduction of Knuckles and them getting to see Tails again and Sonic again and some of the characters that we introduced in the first, and see the evolution of Jim Carrey as Robotnik. It's really cool when you can engage so directly with fans and get to see their reaction and how much this means to them. And for us, we don't take that lightly. We were looking for somebody to play Knuckles that just emanated strength. And we started talking about a lot of people, and honestly, Idris was at the top of our list. I had known him from other movies I had worked on him with. We had a call with him, and once we talked to him, he was in, and he embraced it. And I can't now imagine seeing and hearing Knuckles any other way. Sonic really wanted to find a friend, find a place, a home, and he's found that with Tom and Maddie in the attic of their house. And I think that, he's happy, but he's going through some of the things that any teenager would go through, wanting a little independence, wanting to find out who he is on his own. And I think that's some of the things that we explore in this movie, and I think it's what makes it relatable to not only to young kids, but teenagers and anybody who's kind of gone through that in their life. We really wanted this film to have the humor, the heart, the action, the adventure as the first one, because it's all really about characters, movies in general. But on this one, we wanted to amp up the kind of action-adventure element. Jim Carrey, to me, is one of the greatest comedians, actors of our time. I grew up with him, some of the most iconic performances ever. When we approached him to be Robotnik, we went through kind of a process of educating him of who Robotnik was and what we thought he could be, and he's taken it way farther than we could have ever thought. He not only delivers on a dramatic level, but on a physical level. When he is done for the day, he is exhausted. He puts his whole body, his whole mind, his whole everything into these characters. Where we pick up with him on the Mushroom Planet, I think, is a really fun way to start him in this movie and his quest to stop Sonic and get that ultimate power. He's one of a kind. Jim Carrey is one of a kind. He's a comedic genius. He's a dramatic genius. Watching him work is like watching the finest violinist work. He just knows how to do it, and he demands the best out of himself, and we really appreciate that. James Marsden plays the everyman as good as everybody. I think he's incredibly relatable. I think he's just the sweetest guy in person, and I think it comes across on camera. I think he's funny. And I think he's a great counterpart, almost a father figure to Sonic. I love it. Natasha is everything she says makes me crack up. She's funny as can be. She is physically amazing. And I think there's some of the most memorable moments in this movie are some of her scenes. I think Tika just adds such a motherly quality to the movie. She always knows the right thing to say at the right time. I think her relationship with James is really sweet, and they're a great couple, and they're the perfect couple to be raising Sonic. I'm a huge fan of Shemar. I think he's terrific. I think his kind of humor is underrated, and he got the joke of what we were trying to do in this movie of like, how is it at all possible that Rachel could get this hunk? And he played with it, and the two of them were great together. I hope that Shemar will be with us on many more Sonics. The first time I was in the audience and I saw that reveal of Tails and I saw how crazy the audience went, I knew that he was a character that was going to play long in the Sonic world, and his relationship of kind of being the little brother to Sonic is really great, and all his gadgets that come into play in this movie I love. And I just love the kind of brother relationship that he has with Sonic. I think it's really special and sweet and funny, and I think it brings out another side of Sonic. He's just a very endearing character, Tails, and who could not like a character that has a two tails that can turn them into a helicopter. It's great. There was, a lot of talk in the internet who was going to be the voice of Tails, and we were like, how is there any talk about it? She was so good as the voice of Tails in that little brief part at the end of the first movie. In our mind, she was always going to be Tails. So we were very surprised that there was all this chatter about who was going to voice Tails, and it was very sweet when we officially announced that she was back for the sequel, how much the audience loved it. Ben Schwartz is my favorite. The guy can come up with one-liners at any time. He is Sonic. In real life, he talks a mile a minute. He's funny as can be, but there's deep down so much heart and so much sweetness with Ben, and I think it resonates with the character, and honestly, I can't think of anybody else who could play Sonic. Jeff Fowler, who directed the first movie, and as a rookie director per se, I've never seen somebody who could be so calm with so many elements coming at him at all times. Obviously, you're making a live action movie that you have a CGI character in, so you've got that added thing. Plus, you've got a movie that has to be funny and, under really rigid, difficult circumstances. He did an incredible job, always maintained his calm. He was always striving for more humor, more adventure. He did an incredible job, and the second movie is so much bigger than the first in terms of the action and adventure. He just really rose to the occasion. He did an incredible job. I can't imagine another director ever directing Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm thrilled to be working with him, and he's the best.
When we were all on set for the first Sonic, we felt like it was special. We felt like we were all working really hard. We felt like the writing was there, and Sonic was fun. We just felt like it was a good, just goodness was on set, right? And we were doing something fun. We were laughing a lot. And so, but the way, the audience reacted to the movie was like incredible. I grew up with a brother who was into video games. Like, that's what he did. He played in his room, and as a little sister, I was just trying to get in as much as I can. But I just remember being so in awe of Sonic. What's different with Sonic the Hedgehog 2? I think, obviously the story changes a little bit, but I think you give people what they want, which is more action, bigger production. I mean, more Jim Carrey, and more mischief and more characters, which always makes it more fun. And so I just think this is just a bigger, even better, and bolder movie. That's what I love so much about Sonic and his world. He's all about friendships and layers, and that's what I love about Jeff and our writers and our producers. It's always been the core, the heart of this is about friends and family. And so we've kept that and maintained that, because yes, with all the action and stuff, you have to have a heart. And I'm just grateful that James Marsden, who plays Tom, and myself play a bigger role in the heart of the movie. I think Sonic has changed a bit. I think his confidence has grown. I think he feels more comfortable with himself and where he lives. Maddie is definitely the calmer parent out of the two. While she loves Tom, she's just kind of like, look, kids are going to be kids, right? Like, we will always figure this thing out. And then Tom's a little more like nervous. And I think she kind of makes everybody have a piece about what's going on. Nothing's ever too big of a problem, and everything can always be solved. And that's what I love about Maddie. Maddie and Tom are going to her sister's wedding in Hawaii, and we're super excited that my sister, played by Natasha Rothwell, is getting married and getting all the things that she wants. I think Tom is a little bit more nervous than Maddie, but Maddie is also, like, let's let it be and see what happens. Tika loves Shemar. I love Shemar. I think he is super talented. He's been in this, acting game for a very long time, and he is great to be around. He's fun. He came into a family that was already situated and came in, and it was just like he was part of the family. So just grateful that he said yes, and grateful that he's now part of the crew. What I love about this film is that, the second film is that they really gave Natasha and I an opportunity to be part of the action, to be part of the solving of the situation, to create our own plan, right? And to be heroes. They really wrote us to be active, and Natasha is so fun to play against. She's hilarious, but she's also like super good at doing action. And so it was just fun to be her sister and to make it all, I don't know, I feel like it makes the movie even better. And it gives like women a chance to just go out and like kick butt and do it in dresses. I mean, we're doing it in dresses. It's crazy. Jeff Fowler is one of the calmest directors I've ever worked with, to be honest. He's doing such a huge movie with so many moving parts. He's like the steady ship among everything. And his calm makes us calm and more confident, right? And he gives us the notes and he allows us to have fun with them. But I just love his demeanor so much, and he's just a good dude. That's what I love about Jeff. He gives us a lot of freedom in every aspect of this, every moment, every breath. I mean, any question we have, any thoughts that we want to, any things that we want to try. He's like, yeah, let's try it. Let's see if it works. And sometimes it works, and then sometimes it's like, well, we have it, right? He allows our artistic freedom to like fly and be free and also feel like we're a part of it. I think you can expect from Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I think you can expect just great story, good heart, a lot of action, a lot of blowing things up, a lot of things to go wrong, which makes it more fun. And then I just be prepared to laugh and to smile a lot and to leave feeling good, you know. And I think now more than ever, people just want to feel good and enjoy something together communally, you know. And so I think Sonic the Hedgehog 2 will be that. I think kids are gonna love it, and I think adults are gonna love watching it with their kids. I love Idris, and it's exciting. I think people are gonna be even more excited. Like all the layers that we're putting into this movie. Idris Elba, yes, please. Yes, please. We need your voice.
He's going to come to our world as the first real character who has the comparable abilities to Sonic. And he's going to be a villain that Sonic faces off against, and one who really can handle Sonic's powers like no one in the franchise had before. Tails is Sonic's kid brother. He's someone who has idolized Sonic for many years. He's been trying to find him. He thinks Sonic is the greatest in the entire world. We love the Sonic-Tails dynamic. It's a very older brother, kid brother relationship, you know, where Tails looks up to Sonic and Sonic really doesn't want to let him down. The other fun thing about Tails is a genius. In our franchise, he is the only one who's maybe close to the level of smarts of Robotnik. And so we're going to introduce a lot of really cool gadgets and really cool inventions and weapons that Tails has created. We're going to showcase them in a really fun way in our movie. And finally, Tails flies. You know, he can soar through the air, and some of the really great cinematic and beautiful moments are going to be him flying, holding Sonic, and gliding through the air. You know, which was a really popular sort of mode from the video game. I think this movie, as well as the first one, they're both movies about acceptance. You know, when we met Sonic in the first one, he was this super lonely character, desperate for a family. And we're going to meet Tails and Knuckles in this story, and we're going to see a lot of similarities between what they're going through emotionally and what Sonic did. You know, Tails was ostracized for how he looked. Tails was alone. He traveled a really long way to find someone, to find Sonic. And Sonic's going to relate to that because he was alone in the very same way. And simultaneously, Knuckles is literally the last of his species. And we think with Tails and Knuckles, you know, the audience is going to relate the same way because we all are sort of these outsiders who are looking to find someone. And that's really what the Sonic movies are about. Being able to kind of expand on what we did in the first movie with the Mushroom Planet was incredible. You know, we knew when we left Robotnik there that wasn't just going to be the end of that character. That was really going to be a cliffhanger, you know, another part of his character arc as he changes from this government agent into this sort of Eggman character that we know from the movie. And we knew as soon as we put the scene in the first movie that we were going to get to go back there and explore that. And from a production design standpoint, it was just a field day. We built over 1,000 styrofoam mushrooms. We created this entire planet, and then we just let Jim Carrey go to town on it, and it was a blast. I think that's going to be one of the best sequences in the movie, and I think, you know, we have a really, really good answer for the question that I know fans have been wondering since the end of the first movie, which is, how does Robotnik get off of this planet? One of the things that we love about our film version of Robotnik is we met him at the first movie and he was unhinged, he was manic, he was hilarious, but, you know, he had some grasp of reality. Where we meet him in this movie, he will have spent, you know, 6 months on an abandoned planet with only mushrooms. And if he was crazy in the first movie, he's absolutely insane in this one, which fits Jim Carrey's style of acting perfectly. And it's just a lot of fun to see a character who has lost such a grasp on his reality as he returns back to Earth and has to face off with Sonic once again. Jim's in the classic Eggman character look. He has his head shaved, his mustache is bigger than his face. I think fans are just gonna love how we've leaned into what the Eggman character looked like and really made our Jim Carrey version of it match it. And Jim in this movie is a delight. One of the things that we loved from the first movie was this great relationship that formed between Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik and Lee Majdoub's Agent Stone. I think with Robotnik, not only is he going to be manic, have these great looks, but we've designed a ton of new drones for him. You know, the last movie we really had that one egg-shaped drone. This movie we're going into the games and we're doing our version of the Buzz Bomber, which was the bee-like robot in the first movie. Well, I think one of the things that we talked about in the first movie that we, you know, really have done a good job of, and we've tried to really maintain that in the second movie, is Jeff and I, we really don't like one-off characters. You know, we really don't like having someone show up for one scene, not have a backstory, not have a real role to play in the story. And so early on in the script process of the first movie, we did a lot of consolidation of the characters to make sure that when you saw certain characters on screen, they had some depth to them, they had a real presence. And Natasha Rothwell's Rachel character was one of those characters, you know, as was Adam Pally's Wade, who were really standouts in the first movie, and we got to grow their stories in a nice way in the second movie. You know, Natasha's someone, Jeff and I are big comedy nerds, so we were thrilled that we were able to get Natasha on the first movie for a couple of days off of Insecure, and we got Adam Pally, who we loved from Happy Endings and the Mindy Project, you know, and they come into these movies and they're improv experts, and they can just toss lines out of nowhere, and we get so many, you know, brilliant, funny things from them. And so in this movie, Natasha in particular, we've expanded her role in a really big way. Her wedding is a centerpiece of the story, and I think is one of the funniest set pieces in the movie. Neal Moritz, one of the producers on the movie, have long been fans of Shemar. He's the lead in our CBS show SWAT, and is just a fantastic actor. And for Randall, we needed someone who could be incredibly charming, incredibly handsome, but also had some action chops to him. And we knew from SWAT that Shemar just has that incredible leading man presence. I'm surprised Shemar Moore hasn't been in more comedies. He's got this incredibly funny, charismatic presence. And I think audiences are gonna really see a very different side of him than they have in a lot of his action roles. We feel very lucky to have him. The way we like to look at this film is if the first movie was we met Sonic and he was alone and it was really his search for a family. This is the story of Sonic meeting his best friends. James and Tika are our Sonic family. The experience of shooting the first one was just a pleasure for everyone. They're both incredibly nice individuals, and having them back shooting with us again was just a delight. We're so excited for what we're going to bring audiences in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Not only is there going to be big, giant, globetrotting action, but we're going to do what we always do in a Sonic franchise, which is weirdly joke our way through that. But most importantly, Sonic 2 is going to have a lot of heart. It's going to be emotional. It's going to be a story that you relate to. And we really feel like that's the core thing that makes the Sonic franchise so special and makes the fans really respond to it. I think the biggest Sonic fan in the world might not be online somewhere. It might be Ben Schwartz, who just happened to get the role of Sonic. He grew up playing the games. He's a total video game nerd. You know, as much as he's an actor who's voicing Sonic, so much of the character, so much of the ideas on where we go with the character, you know, the jokes that come out of the character come straight from him. And he's usually the first to come to us and say, oh, this doesn't necessarily feel right. He did this in this game, or this isn't what Sonic's voice would sound like. And being able to have a partner like that who's right at the core of your franchise, it's just been really incredible.